Hello, my beautiful Hair Lounge community. Welcome back to the Hair Lounge. Have you ever purchased hair extensions online and then you get them delivered and you go, oh no, they are not the right color? Well, today I want to teach you how to color hair extensions to get the perfect match for your own hair. Stay tuned and we'll get right into it. You may watch my previous video on halo hair extensions. If you haven't caught that video yet, click this link up here and it'll take you to that video. Don't mind Baxter, he wants to know all about hair extensions. But if you notice in that video, I am super warm on the very top half of this extension. And then if you look towards the bottom, it is very, very cool. Hair extensions are a different beast when it comes to coloring. And I always suggest if you are going to buy hair extensions online, a lot of times they say it's real human hair and it might not be. So you want to be very careful. Make sure you're buying from a reputable site. Again, I will link those sites down below. That way you know you're getting real human hair. Again, I bought these on Amazon. They said real human hair. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to show you how to color these. Again, like I said, this root area is super, super warm. It does have highlights on the actual hair weft, but I want to do a little bit of a shadow root. It almost looks like that's what they tried to attempt, but we're going to shadow root this so it blends in with my hair. As you can see, the color difference, I'm not red. So we're going to shadow this up and deepen the roots. Shadow root is super important. Most people, if you have highlights on your hair, naturally, you're not blonde. As you can see, I'm not blonde either, but we like to pretend. So if you do a shadow root, it really blends in those extensions into your natural hair. That way it looks very seamless and very, very blended. Don't forget, if you are liking what you see, now is a great time before we get into the hair coloring of the extensions to hit that red subscribe button. Do it now. Baxter's waiting. Also, if you end up liking this video, don't forget to get this video a thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's get the colors that we need to mix for these hair extensions. The hair extensions, since they are more on the warm side, I'm going to use more of a neutral ash tone. That way it is going to get rid of that god-awful red brown tone. So naturally, I'm probably close to a level 5, and that's where I want to take these extensions. So I'm going to mix up a 5N with a tiny bit of 5A and 20 volume. As always, I'm going to link everything down below. If you need any help whatsoever on how you should do your own hair extensions, always leave me a comment in the comment box below and I will try to guide you on what you should mix for those. And with the hair extensions, I am not going to be lifting them. Obviously, I'm going to be depositing, so we're just going to use 10 volume. Another tip I like to give a lot of my clients when they're buying hair extensions. Hair extensions, they are processed. So the manufacturing company, whoever ends up selling you the hair extensions, they treat the hair. Very, very few times have I ever been able to put bleach on hair extensions and it lift correctly. They do not lift very well. They have some chemicals on them and you do not get a really pretty blonde. So I always suggest go lighter. If you're confused about which color you should get, always go lighter and you can always tone it or always dye it a darker color or use a darker low light in it. And that will help. You cannot really put bleach on hair extensions. It just really dries them out and you never get a really pretty color. So choose a lighter color so that way you can go a little bit darker. So let's get to mixing. Here is the 5A. Like I said, we're not gonna do a ton of 5A, just enough to cut through that red. We're gonna do about a half an ounce. And then again, we are gonna use straight 5N. I always use Paul Mitchell color, and this one we are going to do closer to 3/4 of an ounce. Again, 10 volume because we are not lifting at all. We're just going to deposit that color. And again, that's gonna be equal parts, so about 1.25 ounces, and stir it up. Also, you'll need foils, a weaving comb, gloves if you get it on your hands, a clip, and I'm going to show you this really cool thing I bought to help with extensions. And this Hairworks hair extension holder is a must. You put the hair extensions in there, it holds onto it, and it has suction cups, so you're able to put it on a flat surface and it holds your extensions. So I also suggest purchasing one of these. Again, I will link everything down in the description box so it's super easy for you to find. All right, you guys, so this is that really cool thing that I told you that holds my extension. It holds it up so it doesn't move around a whole lot. You can also use a pant hanger and have that hold it too, but it has these magnetics. And then I just took that elastic from the Halo and I'm wrapping it around those teeth on the extension, and that's just gonna hold it in place for me. So again, we have 5A and 5N in my mixing bowl, and we are just gonna go through and tap that in through that extension. Again, the bottom of this extension does have a weft kind of cloth in there with clips on it. So you're not gonna want to go all the way through. If you have clip-in extensions or any different type of extension, you will want to smush it and make sure it goes all the way through, but we're just going to start by tapping this into the root. Again, this has kind of that thread up on the top, so I'm not going to worry about getting it up on that threaded part, but we're just going to really make sure we get the roots really good. They try to go down fairly far, so it is going to be a little bit more of a pull down all through the rest of this extension, further than I probably would normally go with a root melt, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how I'm going to kind of blend that in. Again, like I said, this is where you may want to wear gloves, so you're not going to get it on your hands, but I like to live on the wild side. Okay, so now that I got that kind of smushed down into the rest of that hair, I'm going to kind of lift up the hair to make sure we're getting it all the way through, because as you can see, there's another weft underneath there, and you're going to want to make sure that you are getting everything. Since this is a halo piece, you don't have to worry about really smushing it in. You're just kind of more worried about this top section of the halo. If you have clip-ins, you will want to make sure you're saturating all the way through. So making sure you're getting all inside all those little hairs and covering it completely all the way through. Like I said, with the halo extension, it's not super important. It's just the top layer. So, because that's the only thing you're really going to potentially see if, say, the wind blows or anything like that. So it's not super important to get all the way through. Obviously you can, but since it's one thick weft, it's not a huge deal if you don't get it all the way through. Now this is where I'm going to take my weaving comb. You can also do like a blending brush, and I am just going to comb this down. This is going to ensure blending of that color. It kind of takes the leftover color that you have up to the top and kind of blends it down into the rest of those highlights or lowlights that you have on the extension, just like that. Now this is where I'm going to start actually using my weaving comb to weave through. So I'm going to lift up that very top section of that weft, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to kind of follow the weave pattern that they had. I am going to break it up a little bit. So I'm going to grab on this right side, but still grab that dark piece that you see right there, just to really blend it down into the rest of this extension. If you can see kind of through here, they take their root smudge super far down, and that's what I'm gonna blend in. Again, using a foil, we're gonna just pop that right all the way up to the root, and we're gonna go through, go where we already applied color, and then we're gonna turn our brush sideways, and we're gonna kind of tap in where that kind of reddish tone is to kind of get rid of it, and then we're just gonna feather it down into the rest of those blonde pieces. I'm not touching the dark as much, I'm just really kind of taking it into the blonde pieces just to kind of blur in that line. When you hold your brush at an angle, it kind of feathers it into the rest. And then I'm gonna pull that hair to the side and just fold that foil up on itself. And we're just gonna do that all the way across the top of this weft. Same thing, grabbing a section as wide as my foil, combing it nice and straight, and then we're gonna grab most of just that dark section and kind of break up some of those blondes. I'm taking it in where I already applied the color, smushing a little bit more of that color in, and then turning my brush sideways, pushing it down through that kind of leftover red stuff, and then feathering it down into the blonde pieces. Again, you don't have to worry too much about the dark, because those dark pieces are pretty cool. So you don't have to worry about getting rid of the red, and just folding it up on itself. Now what I like to do is I am going to lift all these foils up and clip them onto my little contraption, and we're gonna just continue on in through the rest of this weft to get really blur all the rest of that line that you can see on there. And I will also take, so this is my part that I have weaved. I do not want to touch that, and I'm gonna clip that up. So right now I'm just kind of painting on that ashier color on those pieces that I did not get when I was going through and applying the original root shade. Okay, and here's our last little row. Just gonna feather in a little bit more of that dark now that that hair is clipped up, just to blend it in just a tiny bit more on this bottom section. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because a lot of this hair will be hidden because of all the hair laying up on top. And we are just trying to kind of get rid of that super warm reddish tone. Once we get this applied, we're gonna let it sit. You wanna let your color sit on at least 25-30 minutes so it can actually process and really cancel out those super warm tones. And then we will shampoo it. When you are shampooing extensions, you wanna be really careful of not tangling them. Make sure all the color is really rinsed out. Use shampoo and conditioner, and then we are going to use a blow dryer on it. So we will be back in about 25 minutes. All right, my friends, here she is. I did just rough dry her, and surprisingly she had wavy hair. But you can see I really ashed out that root so it's not red, and we have a lot more of a shadow root compared to what it was before, and just very, very natural, kind of all the way throughout the hair. So it's going to blend with my hair a lot better, a lot easier to do whenever you have this fun little tool. I also dried her on this, so if you've ever had issues with drying your hair extensions, it really honestly helps. So hopefully you guys can see that on camera and see the difference of doing a root melt on hair extensions. Okay, you guys, hopefully that really helped you to know how to add low lights or add a shadow root to your hair extensions, just in case you receive them in the mail and you absolutely hate it. As always, get extensions that are lighter, so then you can always add dark back into it. Try to match it as close as you can to your hair color, but if you are confused or worried at all, always go lighter, because you cannot lift hair extensions. It really damages them. But so much easier, looks so much better, and it matches my hair a lot better. Closer to my natural hair color, and we got rid of that god-awful red line at the very root of those hair extensions. As always, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment box below. And as always, I appreciate the support. If you haven't done so yet, hit that red subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my new and up and coming videos. As always, I appreciate the support. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this content, and we'll see you guys all next time. Bye-bye.